back to Liquid Lunch, a little extended musical break, because we're getting ready for the very first time that the Magnetic Marketing Moment is brought to you here on Liquid Lunch. And we've got Janette Burke here, and there she is. So today we're talking about women in business, right, Janette? And this is huge because more women are in business than ever before, and I hear they're even more successful than men.
Well, that's sort of true and sort of not true. So first of all, let me address the fact that, yes, more women than ever since 1996 in the U.S. and Canada, 20% increase in women in business, women who are immigrants, women who are not, usually very highly educated, in the 20 to 40 range predominantly.
Yeah.
And the thing is, though, you're asking me about the success rate, and sadly, they earn less than 1% of their male counterparts.
What?
in the huge grand scheme of things.
Less than 1%?
Yes, less than 1% earn over 100,000.
Oh.
Sorry, less than 6% over 100,000.
Yeah.
Less than 1% over 365,000. So. Yeah, so that's startling, isn't it, than their male counterparts?
Well, I don't know. I wish I was one of those I wish I was making $300,000 a year. Then I could be.
Don't we all?
Regardless of what sex I was.
Yeah, but because we're just looking at the efforts that they're putting in, and where, today's topic is sort of where are some of the challenges and how it impacts their marketing, which in turn impacts their sales, right? So, so. That's what the records show.
Okay.
And basically, it's kind of sad when you think that, why do women go into business? Or why does anyone go into business,
because
really?
They got laid off.
Well...
Okay, that's the wrong answer, isn't it?
That might be partially true. But there's other reasons, right? There's lack of job security today.
Yeah.
Women want security. It doesn't matter who they are, where they come from. We're ingrained since childhood. We want security. Mm-hmm. We also want a little bit of freedom. Mm-hmm. And, we want some stability. And we sometimes want flexible hours, more flexible hours to work when we decide to work, like part-time or full-time. And it's difficult sometimes to, fulfill every hat as a woman, being a wife, a mother, and a businesswoman, and if you're in the job market, juggling all this as well is very difficult. So that usually prompts certain women to seek out self-employment for the autonomy of it.
Right.
However, there's some things going on that are kind of self-sabotaging to the whole purpose of why, we seek independence, we seek freedom, and then we kind of screw it up for ourselves.
Now, is this just women, or is it like men too, men entrepreneurs as well?
It applies to both, but it really applies to women because unlike men, women have more on their plate to handle, more on their plate to juggle.
I have to admit, sometimes when I see a lot of women, and they might even be single women, and they're raising kids, and they're trying to do a career, and they're trying to keep the household together, it is an awesome job that they are responsible for doing. So
correct. And they still wear that hat.
Yeah.
As much as we want to believe there's equality out there and men are taking on more, they are, but women are still the primary caregiver.
Yep.
And the primary household maintainer. So there is more juggling going on.
And if they want a career, that's just on top of all that. So what are some of the challenges that are unique to what women...
Distraction is one.
Okay.
Distraction is a huge problem because it leads to a number of things like being frazzled, not scheduling your time properly. And so let me address some of that, and then I'll talk about how that impacts your ability to market yourself and then in turn earn profit. Distraction, because a lot of women work from home.
Yep.
So they're distracted by the fact that they have children at home.
Yeah.
Plus laundry, plus cleaning, plus cooking, plus. And so they start taking hours away from their work hours when they're supposed to be productive to tend to chores or other needs. Mm-hmm. So that diminishes their available working hours. And that also diminishes their scheduling time if they're not very good at scheduling. So what they have to do is they have to get very firm, and they have to learn a couple things, one being the word no.
Right.
And when they get into their office wherever their designated office is in the morning, you have to treat it like it's a real business and a real office, and you have to, set times where this is mommy's working time.
The kids should make an appointment, right?
Well, they definitely have to learn that. I know they're children and they have needs, but they have to learn by a woman setting an example for themselves that they can't burst into mommy's office anytime they want,
Right.
or that mommy's not going to be available 24/7 because she has appointments to go see.
Yep.
And this is really important because, scheduling is very important. It's part of taking away from the frazzled woman, overstressed, overscheduled syndrome, right? Which leads to a whole other bunch of other problems. But for example, to be successful, you have to be punctual. Punctual is a very important part of your marketing, believe it or not. You make appointments because you're the image of your business, right?
Yeah.
So if you're, for example, on the phone and you're designating your work hours from, 9 to 5 with a few breaks in between, and you're trying to make calls and everything, it's not going to look very good or sound very good if you have constant interruptions of people bursting through the door or loud noises in the background. It looks unprofessional. Similarly, if you have a scheduled appointment and you're always running late to meet that prospective client, it sends a very strong message to the prospective client that you're trying to close, that you haven't got your act together and you can't fulfill my needs. Right, by being late.
Of course. Yeah.
And so this is a problem. Also, when you're sitting in the meeting, and a lot of women or even men too, they keep the cell phone on in a meeting. Really, you should either turn it off or put it on vibrate. And they take calls from the kids, when they're in meetings.
Well, I find it even distracting when you're having a meeting with somebody, and even if they're doing business, sending texts, but you're trying to have a conversation with them.
Yes.
To me, it is just.
It's unprofessional, and it sends a message that you don't care what the other person is saying, so that impacts their decision as to whether or not they want to do business with you.